What is love? Is it just a fleeting feeling, a temporary burst of emotion? Or is it something far deeper, more eternal? Today, we're diving into the profound, life-altering truth about love and why the absence of emotion might just be the doorway to becoming more like God himself. Think about this. Jesus Christ, beaten, mocked, nailed to a cross. His body torn, his spirit crushed, and yet through it all, love radiated from him. Not the sentimental love we often talk about today, but the kind that chooses to give, to sacrifice, even when it feels nothing in return. Let's go back to that pivotal moment, the crucifixion. Imagine the weight of the cross pressing down on Jesus' raw, torn flesh. The crowd jeers, the soldiers drive the nails. And there, amid the agony, Jesus looks out and says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." This wasn't love driven by emotion. Do you think he felt warm and fuzzy in that moment? Of course not. This was love as a decision, as a truth. It's the kind of love that's not tied to feeling, but rooted in being. And here's the twist. This is the love we're called to live out. You see, Jesus wasn't swept up in emotion. He chose to love because love is his nature. And when we let go of our dependence on feelings, we begin to glimpse what it means to love as he did. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. If I don't feel anything, doesn't that mean I'm empty? Numb? What's the point? And a friend of mine once said, if you want to feel nothing, just take antidepressants. You'll see, it's awful. But let's unpack that. There's a difference between being numbed by circumstances or substances and choosing to rise above emotions to something greater. Imagine living free from the roller coaster of highs and lows. When you're not shackled by your feelings, you're free to choose, free to believe, free to love with intention. This is where emotional detachment becomes a gift. It's not about indifference. It's about clarity. When you step away from the chaos of feelings, you can see what really matters. You can decide who you want to be, not based on fleeting emotions, but on deep, unchanging truths. And here's the beautiful part. God doesn't love us because he feels like it. He doesn't wake up in a good mood one day and decide, today I'll love humanity. No, he loves because he is love. It's his essence, his very nature. When we choose to let go of emotional chaos, we align ourselves more closely with that divine nature. Love becomes a choice, a commitment, a reflection of who we are at our core. And in that moment, we experience something extraordinary, a love that's unshakable, infinite, eternal. This is the kind of love that transforms. It doesn't waver in hardship. It doesn't falter in the face of betrayal. It doesn't depend on how we feel in the moment. Here's the truth. When you're not controlled by emotion, you have the freedom to choose who you want to be. You can curate your beliefs, your actions, your entire way of life, not based on how you feel, but on what you know to be right and true. This freedom doesn't mean detachment from reality. It means engagement on a deeper level. You're no longer reacting, you're responding. You're no longer driven by impulse, you're guided by purpose. Think about God's love for us. It's not transactional. It's not based on whether we deserve it or not. It's not a feeling, it's his very being. And when we let go of our own emotional turmoil, we step into that same kind of love. Imagine this, loving not because you're compelled to, but because it's who you are. Forgiving not because you feel like it, but because it reflects the heart of God. Giving, serving, living, not out of obligation, but out of the deepest sense of identity. Now, here's the challenge. The world tells us to follow our feelings, to trust our hearts. But what if our hearts are fickle? What if our feelings lead us astray? Instead, what if we chose something higher? Choosing to love, even when it's hard. Choosing to believe, even when it's not easy. Choosing to align our nature with God's. To live in a way that reflects his eternal, unchanging love. So here's my invitation to you. Let go of the need to feel love and start choosing to be loved. Let go of the highs and lows of emotion and embrace the steady, unwavering nature of God's heart. Because in that choice, you'll find freedom. You'll find purpose. You'll find him.